This conference will now be recorded.
Hi, and welcome to Navigating the Now. I started this series because I just realized a lot of people were having trouble with these kind of crazy times, and I've asked various practitioners and facilitators in the belief repatterning community to join me. And today I'm really excited to have Marnie Johnston with us. How are you doing, Marnie?
Oh, I'm fantastic. Thanks for having me. This is an exciting series. I'm quite enjoying it.
Good. And just giving and getting some ideas from various practitioners and facilitators on how to kind of move through these interesting times. I keep thinking about the Chinese proverb, may you live in interesting times. Well, here we are. Here we are. So tell folks that are listening a little bit about how belief repatterning kind of showed up in your life, a little bit about your journey with it. And then we're going to start looking at COVID and how you've been able to apply that. So when did it all begin?
It was probably roughly about over 11 years ago, and I was introduced to belief repatterning through a personal trainer. He gave me your card, Suze, and said, make an appointment with this lady, because I had some physical stuff going on, and I had been working with him and a chiropractor and a naturopath, and it had been going on for a few months. And he gave me a card. I didn't make the call. And he asked me again, did you make the call? And I didn't make the call. And then finally he gifted me a session, and it was the best thing I ever did, because I walked in your office, we did a repatterning, and it was connected to what was going on with me physically. And I walked out of that office and I never felt the pain again. Yeah.
Our bodies are so cool, aren't they? That our minds
Yes.
hold things like that and hold a pattern, hold a pain pattern. And that's what I find so often in using the patterning with, and maybe it wouldn't have worked the same had you not been doing the stuff with the personal trainer and the chiropractor, the naturopath. I don't like to say that belief repatterning is the magic bullet, but in combination with other things, I mean, it's pretty magic on its own, as are all the other techniques. But when you combine them, it's just like, whoa, it's like it gives your body and mind and spirit what it needs to move forward. So I am so grateful to the person who gifted you the session, because it was a huge gift to us in the community to have you moving forward with, because like fast forward 11 years, you're now one of our facilitators. You work with the teens specifically, although you work with everybody, but you've really taken the teen program and spearheaded that. We've moved that online. We're going to talk about that in a little while. But let's look at the kind of COVID time in general. And what would you say has been one of the gifts, one of the silver linings in this cloud, one of the things that you kind of will look back on this time, later on in your life and go, yeah, what a gift that was.
Well, I can even say right now, it has allowed me to pause personally, professionally. It's allowed me an opportunity to increase my self-care, which was needed during this time, because as you said, it's been an interesting time, and it still is. And it's allowed me to get creative really differently when it comes to working with people, because I work with people in person on a one-to-one basis. I work with teens in person, in groups and on a one-to-one basis. And so having to adapt to being online and working with teens online. It's been interesting. It's been fun, and a lot of beautiful discoveries.
And I was speaking with someone not quite your age, but more my age, a little bit older, and she was saying her how did she put it? Her sons are natives of the land of technology, and she's an immigrant. And so you and I are immigrants to the land of technology. Teens, they live there. It's not hard for them, but for us, it's kind of like, And I think that I think it has brought that to a more mainstream place for like, it kind of leveled out the playing field in terms of the age gap difference, because I know that you've been a technology user, but just not to the extent. And
not at all to the extent. Yes.
Super. So that's a great gift. Now, what challenge, and it may be related to the gift, but what challenge did you find that you've overcome with belief repatterning during this time frame? So what?
Well,
Probably more than one, but
Oh, and I've definitely have a few. One that comes to mind because what this time period allowed me to do was pause and reflect. And working with teens, and I've worked with teens for over 25 years. And in the past few years, there's been a lot of loss of, in the teen community, and it's been quite sad. So it this time period allowed me to pause and take a look at some of the grief that I was experiencing and support myself through it with repatterning. And I never even knew the grief was there because, these events have happened, and I kept on going and kept on going and kept on going. So yeah, that has been a real gift.
nice. Yeah. And, and I think that we're witnessing a lot of people going through that same kind of thing, that now that
Mhm.
stop that some of that stuff that's been piled up, and the real joy with repatterning is that not that you're ignoring it, but rather that you can move through it in a more effective and
Mhm.
efficient way. I often talk about
Yes.
it like the navigating, okay? Like that's why we call it
Hmm.
navigating the now, because I was talking to somebody the other day and they said, we can't do anything about it. And I went, whoa, 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 whoa. COVID is, but we get to decide how we respond. Saying
Hmm.
anything about it, that puts us in that victim place. And I know that one of the things that you're really, really committed to is helping teens, especially, I mean, everyone, but teens especially, be empowered and not be in that.
Hmm.
I would think that for teens right now, I mean, I was just speaking with one of my clients an hour ago, and she has a 20-year-old who, was on the dean's list last year, and this year has dropped out of university because he just cannot manage the online stuff.
Hmm.
Is quite despondent, and and I think that they feel like their dreams have been taken away from them rather than just they're placed on hold. And this is an opportunity to explore some other aspect in another way. So do you want to speak a little bit about kind of the programs that you're doing with teens, and then we're going to open up for Q&A from folks that are listening.
Hmm. The program that we're running is called Switch It Up for Teens, and it's a 4-module program, and we're running it over 4 days. It begins in March, and there's actually 2 options. One that begins March 30th for 4 days in a row, and the other one begins the beginning of March for 4 Tuesdays in the evenings. And so here's something that has been happening. We've had an increase of anxiety and depression through all this. Sometimes, I've heard this, oh, my teen's doing fine. They're navigating it. And they're not. There's some tough stuff going on. Here's something really interesting that one of the most utilized ways to support teens through depression is cognitive reframing. And that's what belief repatterning is. So I love when Suze talks about and. So belief repatterning is such a beautiful addition to whatever they are doing. And I love the Switch It Up program because it's delivered in digestible chunks.
Yes, so you have been facilitating the Switch It Up program for 3, 4, 5, I don't know, 6, however many, 10, I don't remember how long it's been now, but for quite some time. But
Mm-hmm.
right, and I know I used to do it as an evening or maybe over 2 evenings. But what
Mm-hmm.
this has allowed us to do is really put it into some chunks where the young
Mm-hmm.
people then have an opportunity to learn some things and then go and apply it, and then come back and get it reinforced and understand more. And I think that you allow like the adults to watch too, right?
Hmm. Yes, well, yes, absolutely. And what's really awesome is that in that we've got it an hour long, 45 minutes of there's instruction in there and 50 minutes of Q&A. But in that instruction, it's experiential. Even though we're online, there are some really cool things that we're able to do with them.
Thanks. And when I think about like for all of us, I mean, everyone's experiencing COVID in a very unique way. So I'm not
Mhm.
trying to dump teens all into one bucket. But I remember when I was a teen, what was the most important to me? Hanging out with my friends.
Exactly.
They can't do it in the same way. Okay. What was the
Mm-hmm.
next important thing to me? Hanging out with my friends.
Mm-hmm.
What was the, like, everything was about my peer group. And although I think one of the gifts that I'm seeing in COVID is that family groupings are, yes, I know that domestic violence is on the rise, and I know that it's not true for everyone, but I am witnessing really strong family connections happening in
Mm-hmm.
the 12-year-old used to go and play with the 12-year-olds, and the 8-year-old used to go play with the 8-year-olds, and the 6-year-old used to go play with the 6-year-old. Now the 12, 6, and 8-year-old are playing together because that's what they got to do. And I think that that's going to give a real nice boost to families going forward.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there's going to be a stronger family connection with a lot of our young people, and they're really missing that peer connection. And so this having
Mm-hmm.
group online gives them having some of that peer interaction with with students that are young people that are going through similar kinds of experiences, and they can get a connection with some kind of a higher vibe, right? A way to manage through this, and then they can take that and talk to their buddies, and then it ripples out.
Absolutely. And teens really connect with their peers when they understand that somebody is going through the same thing that they are. That is very meaningful in their world. Hmm.
Yeah, because there's that identification that I'm not alone. Because I don't know about you,
Exactly.
when I was a teen, I do remember when I was a teen, but it was like I thought I was the only person who thought like this. And then
Hmm.
somebody else that kind of share, and you go, okay, because you're trying to figure out who you are. And when we were figuring that out, the landscape was a lot more solid than it is now. And so now they're
Hmm.
trying to figure out who they are, and they're like on a rocking ship and the adults around them are kind of on a rock. Like everybody's on this kind of, and it looks like everybody's doing okay, but when you kind of look under the surface, there's a lot of, like you said, increased anxiety, depression, drug
Hmm.
and alcohol use, regardless of age, and you know, I think that we owe it to our teens to really give them some foundation that they can get solid, so that they know that their dreams aren't gone; they're just maybe on hold. I remember one of the moms I was working with saying, "I'm so afraid that my kids are going to get behind," and I'm like, "Behind who?"
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. We're all in the same place, same
Yeah,
space. Yes.
we're not all in the same boat. We're in the same storm.
It's exactly. There you go. Exactly.
We're in the same
Yeah.
boat, same storm, and I want to make sure that our young people have a really good seagoing vessel where they could navigate, where they can be
Mhm.
solid. So really super excited and stoked that you've got that program going. We're going to come back and talk to that a bit more, but first I want to just check in with the folks that are online. Any specific questions or comments or things that are popping into your mind that Marnie can address for you? So just pop your microphone or your camera on, and if you have a question, comment, curiosity. I'm sure they're fumbling for it right now. Okay, well, while we're waiting, Marnie, I'm going to ask you what you notice, because you've worked with a lot of teens through this program.
Mhm.
What are some of the things that you notice that the results are? Like, what tangible things are you noticing?
Mm, tangible. Okay. Reduced anger is one. Reduced anger, an understanding of feelings. Another is, so with the reduced anger, increase in self-confidence, in increase in ability to do whatever they're doing, whether it's somebody who is a writer or somebody or a teenager who's involved with sports or just navigating school day to day.
Yeah,
So those.
yeah, yeah. I mean, any one of those would be great, but many kids are getting all of them. And we've actually had some kids that have done the program more than once.
Mhm.
And what do you notice with them?
Well, there, I'll speak to my daughter's experience because she told me that I could. What she has noticed for her, and she took this a long time ago when it was a little bit differently structured. And what she has noticed for herself is that into adulthood, that she still utilizes some of the techniques that she was shown to help her navigate, to shift things, to help her to see that there's more than one perspective, as opposed to, say, the perspective that I failed and that's what's happened here. Yeah, allowing, and that's something that I think is so beautiful that the gift of this technique gives. It allows a different perspective. Because what's happening with most teens is the beat up, right? Oh, I fail, or this isn't going right. Well, if we can take the same situation and look at it from this perspective, it's a game changer.
Well, and you know what? I look at all of the places where I'm solid, and I got solid because I got through some gunk. Like, I didn't just kind of get like born with the silver spoon in my mouth. Like, I don't think any of us really did. I think that we all become who we are because of how we have moved through a challenge, and that's what unique and beautiful and builds that self-confidence. And so we've got a great challenge here. And I think that for the rest of our lives, we're going to be looking back at this time as
definitely.
And our teens are going to be, it's going to be like how my father and mother were with the war, like, the pre-war, during the war, and post-war. I think that our young people are going to have the pre-COVID, during COVID, and post-COVID, and that they're going to be touchstoning it forever. And I really, I'm encouraging everybody to think about, how do you want to be looking back at this time? And I think that the difference between the adult perspective and the youth perspective is the youth is so much in the now that they aren't really able to, and part of it is cognitively, aren't able to kind of project it forward, but we can. And so what I'm going to, just ask the question, like, what do parents want their kids to look back on this time as? And what kinds of things can you put in place to make sure that happens? So while you're answering that or reflecting on that, Marnie, I'm going to encourage anybody who's listening, you can turn your mic on and I'll call you by first name, or if you prefer to stay anonymous, you can just type the message into the chat box. You can send it to myself privately or to Marnie privately, whichever you want to do. And we'd love to address the concerns and challenges and curiosities that you have. So Marnie, in terms of what can I, as an adult, what kind of space can I hold for the young people in my life so that in the future they look back and go, you know what, that was a really good time in my life?
Yes, it's important to go, oh, I've had a situation and this didn't work, that didn't work. It's also so important, what did work? What did I learn? Because I love this quote. It's a quote by Kerwin Ray. Failure allows us to see the skills and ability and knowledge that we need to get to the next step. So if I've written a math test and I fail at the math test, well, maybe I need to study differently. Maybe there I can get some support from someplace. So that's the if I could give a gift to every teen, it would be to see failure as a stepping stone for the skills, abilities, and the knowledge that they require to get to the next step.
Really have taking that from going to the victim to like the empowered superhero, so taking the V off your forehead and putting it on your chest, right? So there is a question, a younger person, a 7-year-old boy, absorbed the language of I don't care and I'm not sure how to shift that. Okay, because the language of I don't care, there's a lot of that going around right now, isn't there? We're just going to wait and see. That was fine when we thought COVID was going to last 6 to 8 weeks, but here we are a year. And, for me, that's 1/63 of my life. But for a teen, that's like 1/12 of their life. out of the year of their life so far, you know, when you put it in that terms. And so the 7-year-old boy, I don't care how would you, because the I don't care is not, it's not just the 7-year-olds, it's not just the teens, it's not just the adults, that kind of I don't care. How do we
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, then there is that, you know what, I'm rolling with this with ease, and I don't care, and it's really actually affecting me, and that goes for any of us at any age. And you know, looking at where things are going well, I think is so important. Again, it's not ignoring this what's not going well, and what it is too is acknowledging what is, because that gets us through. That so gets us through.
Yeah. And you know, just somebody saying I don't care means they care. Like
Mm-hmm.
kind of like my aunt who's 95 was really concerned that she was getting Alzheimer's, and so she asked her granddaughter, who is a geriatric nurse, and she said, "I'm concerned I'm getting Alzheimer's." And her granddaughter said, "If you're asking the question, you're good. You don't have it." Okay, it's kind of like somebody saying I don't care. It actually means they do care. And so that, like you say, like helping them focus on what is. So what do you care about? You know, I do care about putting on a jacket before I go out in -30 because it's cold. I do care about putting my pants on before I go outside so that nobody laughs at me. I do care. Like, what do you care? It could be as simple as those kinds of things. I do care that I have
Mm-hmm.
I do care that I have a nice bed to sleep in. And so focusing on what we do care about, and I think that that's part of the gift of this that you were talking about when we first started, which was that time to pause and
Mm-hmm.
what is important to us. So fastest half hour of the weekend. We've got about 4 more minutes. I hope that that supported the person who had the question. We could take one more question, or we could just have parting thoughts from Marnie and tell us a little bit about the switch it up.
Well, I am very excited to do the switch it up. I log on to the learnitliveit.com website for more information. Here's something that I would like to give everybody, a gift of something, how you can incorporate this into your daily life. And it doesn't matter what age you are. And actually, it's so fun to do with the little people and teenagers. I am equipped with sidewalk chalk in my car always. And when I can't write on sidewalks, I write on in the snow or in dirt. And what I do is that's what I'll do. I'll write my words and play. I encourage you, take your teenager, get them to think of all the up above the line words and write them in different places. Write them in the snow. Write them with sidewalk chalk. I have had some of the most beautiful experiences with teenagers doing that activity. And here's something really cool about that activity, that it keeps on giving. One day I was out and I was with some younger people, and we were writing on sidewalk some words, and sitting there admiring the words that were written on the sidewalk, and a jogger came by. One of the words was carpe diem. And this jogger was running by, and she passed the word and turned around and came back and went, "Oh my gosh, this was the message I needed to see today." And she said, "Can I take a picture of this?" And absolutely. And away she went. So not only did it feel good for us writing those words were a gift to others. So I encourage you, play with that.
How empowering for those teens to know that they made a difference for. I mean, that's all any of us want to know, isn't it? That we made a difference. And so I've also put your email address, you know, here in high tech. Okay, so learnit-liveit.com is where the switch it up is. This is your email address. If you maybe want to do that out loud, Marnie.
It's Marnie, that's MARNIE .Johnston, JOHNSTON at BELIEFREPATTERNING.com.
Marnie Johnston at repatterning.com, and I'm going to just put a plug in here because you work with more than teens. You are awesome at supporting the adults around teens and
Mhm.
any adult in navigating through as well. And so you do one-on-one sessions with
Yeah.
Repatterning online. You do the Switch It Up for Teens. We've just talked about the one that's happening in March of 2021. It will happen again. It continues to
Mhm.
happen. You can always check on learnit-liveit.com or send Marnie an email and she will let you know when the next one is. What I'm going to just ask though, what is the price for this 4 modules to support the teens?
I love the price. The price is $49.99, the price of a tank of gas. So let's fill up our teens tank.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I so appreciate you being with me today, Marnie. Thank you so much. One more time, your email address. I'm going to just look up your phone number here really quickly. Or do you want to just
Oh,
type through?
my phone number is 403-837-0163.
Perfect. There we go. High tech. Here you got it. Okay. Do connect. Do yourself and the young people in your life a favor. If you don't have any young people in your life, that's okay. Marnie can help you anyway. We're all kids at heart, and it's always something on the flip side of it. So thank you so much, Marnie, for joining us today. I'm Suze Casey. We'll be back next week with Navigating the Now. Goes live from 11:45 to 12:15 Mountain Time on Saturdays. And how long are we doing it for? Well, for sure till the end of March. I just thought that it was maybe something that people could use. So thanks so much for joining me, Marnie. Take good care. Thanks for all you're doing to support our young
Thank you.
and being solid. Take good care.
Okay. Bye.